Welcome to the Commando Cast. I am Mike.
And I'm Andrew, and today I'm going to be asking Mike the question, how do we build our community? Hey guys, welcome back to the Commando Cast. So, what Smugglers Run Gaming, Mike again is the owner, purveyor, and champion of Smugglers Run Gaming.
That is me.
Well, why don't you tell us, what have you guys been doing for the last couple weeks?
So, we mentioned it before, but we've been hyper-focused on getting new players. Convergence is coming out. It's actually a really good opportunity to introduce to new people, and also it's a good time because people are going to be buying new boxes and new sets. So it's
drafts will be more frequent,
right? Drafts will be more frequent. So I think it's better to try to get people in prior to the set release as opposed to at set release. So what we've done is we started offering new players, come play with us on Mondays. We will construct and just give you a playable deck that will teach you how to play, and then you can leave with it. And they were all trilogy-based decks. One of them was probably too good.
Like the Mandos?
The Mandos, yeah.
It's pretty good.
I don't think I think she's told me she lost one time, in the 9 games. So, but people seem to really like it. They like walking out with something, and we just used our extra rares, and Grievous Wheelbike.
Yeah.
Which
now is like the new hot card, right?
Right.
No, so I was impressed. I was impressed that we got 4 players week 1, but what I was really impressed with was that week 2, those players actually came back. Right. I will be honest, I wasn't sure how many people were going to just show up for free stuff.
Sure.
So the fact that those 4, and I believe they even brought a friend when they returned, right?
Yeah, so 4 new people week 1, 2 new people week 2, and the original 4
brought one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I don't think you could ask for more success there.
Yeah.
I'm very surprised that we did get that level of returning, and hopefully we can build it. And interestingly enough, when we were there, I had the recording rig set up when we were playing, or recording the casual games.
Right.
This other guy came over, who was at the place, and he was like, "Hey, I play Destiny up in Washington. You guys are streaming. This is awesome." So between having the kid out, giving free stuff away, and having people there, we were just pulling in players left and right. So
it was that I can't believe how freaky it was when we all sat down that Monday night at 7 and there were no new people, and then at 7:05 4 people roll in. I didn't think I barely had enough decks, and I had kind of settled into, we're just not going to teach anybody this week, and all of a sudden I had to go into teacher mode. So I went from kind of being terrified to just genuinely having fun, within about an hour. So that was really cool.
Yeah, well, we've just been having fun also. I taught the first week. I didn't teach this last week because Derek was doing a fantastic job teaching people. It's his jam.
Who knew, right?
He was doing a great job.
Yeah.
So we were just playing. We've been having a lot of fun just playing casual decks.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Fist. We haven't seen
Smoke. No Fist. Nothing that rhymes with Coke or
Mist.
Mist, yeah, in weeks, which has been
Milo.
Yeah. So that was the thing we didn't bring. We told all the current the regulars not to bring Kylo, because when you're doing these casual decks, they end up coming out to be almost very close to mono decks.
Right. Even when you're playing one color, even when you're playing a 2-color deck, probably when you're doing this, 24 of them are the same color for the most part.
Yeah. So everyone's been really accommodating, bringing just super fun stuff. Some people are just rules be damned. They're bringing whatever they want, and flooding the field with Millennium Falcons.
So I just put the video up today on the Dice Commando channel, but Eric, who is Mike's partner, he got some not ideal deck building advice, and he was told that he could run 2 of any copy of a card, which is obviously not true. You can only run 2 Millennium Falcons no matter which version. Anyway, he was running 6 Millennium Falcons. We let him play it because he was playing Saw Yoda, and his whole point was to discard the card anyway, so it's not like he was going to have 3 Falcons on the field, right? So we just let it go. It was kind of funny.
Super funny, yeah. I don't know who gave him that terrible advice.
Yeah. Anyway, so the question I have for you is, now that we've kind of adjusted our focus towards getting people, right? And I feel that in Destiny, Destiny's still a relatively new game, right? And usually when people talk about community building, they're talking about getting people. But we need to do more than just get them. We need to keep them.
Sure.
And then not on top of that, not only do we need to get them coming back, but we need to at some point make them a part of the community so that they belong and they stay and they become vested. So the question for you is, how do we do that? How do we, adjust our focus from just getting people, right? So I think you figured out, let's say that you figured out the formula for getting new people.
Sure.
What's the next step?
So I think the most important thing to do to turn a new person into a community member is to remember that when you sit down and play someone across from you, and this is any game, you are playing with a person and you're not playing against necessarily an opponent. I mean, you can be playing against an opponent, but you're really playing with a person. And I find that some of my best conversations and some of the times when I get to know people the most is when we're kind of playing Destiny in the background. Like we are playing Destiny, but we're also talking about, how the week at work went. How's your kids? How's your wife? How's your husband? Like whatever we're doing, we're making connections. And I think that's super important for this is if you want to turn those people into community members, you have to be willing to engage them on a personal level. And another thing to remember is not every person is going to be able to make a personal connection with every other person. And I think it's important to kind of set them, like for you to, when you play different players, hopefully your play group is large enough and varied enough that new person is going to find someone to connect with.
I see. Yeah, that's a good point, right? And it's not even like or dislike or fight with certain people. It's just, someone's going to get along with Mike, and not very many people are going to get along with Andrew. I think that's a good point. Yeah. So you're, just engage them on a personal level.
Yeah.
But in order to do that, we have to get them to come back.
Right.
Right. And then you just grow them into the group just by being nice, I guess. Right.
So one of the new people, after the first Monday, they found me on Facebook. And then we started chatting on Facebook about Destiny.
I see.
That week. So he instantly engaged we already had something in common, right? We had Destiny in common, and then we started talking, about that. And I mean, I like him. He's cool. Like we're not friends. We're not sharing personal stuff with each other yet, but
sure.
we are forming a quasi bond over something that we have in common. And I think it should be easy for us to connect and turn people into community members when we have something that we love so much in Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Some of us love Star Wars and we love gaming, and then we put them together and we share it, and it just really makes good relationships. Like I have never had closer friends as quickly as I have from playing Star Wars Destiny. Like I've had closer friends.
It has been very, very fascinating. I've played a lot of games. I know you have as well. And it has been very fascinating how easy it has been for us to grow the community. And maybe we're just very lucky. Luck probably has something to do with it, of finding the right people. But it's grown very quickly, and we have a very good community, and we're very fortunate in that aspect. So I guess to that end, maybe I'll skip ahead to kind of the order here, but do you feel, I feel that a lot of people come to Destiny because they don't like Magic, right? Or I should say a lot of the people who are from like ex-Magic players who now play Destiny have come to the community and really enjoy the community. And that's what you see all the time is people talking about how great the Destiny community is. Do you think it's because other games have essentially pushed out the people who don't want that anymore?
Right.
And what's left is, not without tooting our own horn, like, do we have the cream on Destiny? Obviously not everybody, because there's always a turd in the punch bowl, right?
I think that because Destiny has dice in it, it's inherently swingy, and the wrong kind of person cannot handle that well, and I think they quickly get a taste of that and they move on. So I think the chaff is quickly burned away with our game. Like we only get people who enjoy it, because the first time your opponent rolls out 15 damage from Big Falcon Han and melts your face, you either laugh it off and play again, or you get mad and flip out. Right?
No, I think that's a very accurate statement. Right. what are you going to do about it?
Right. There's you just play again. That's the beauty of the game. Is our games can be 20 minutes long, and you're out 20 minutes. Hopefully you had a good time, and you play again.
Yeah, maybe you had a beer, right? So, okay, no, that's fair. So we're just So I guess that kind of then leads me into my next question of we had one individual who was hitting us up on the boards. Or on the YouTube channel, and he was like, man, I really wish Portland had events like the Team Covenant thing. And, I mean, sure, that sounds great. Right. But I find that there's I wish that we didn't play tournaments all the time, right? The problem is it becomes very difficult to get people to show up to casual events with nothing on the line.
Right. It's easier to pass when there's nothing on the line.
Right. So, and yeah, maybe that's it, right? So you can get 5 or 6 people to meet at a bar, but you're not going to get the, 15, 16 people that you might get at a tournament. Right? So how do you engage the community such that they don't need the little pieces of plastic? Or maybe the better question actually in this particular case is, what do you tell that individual who's like, well, I don't understand why Portland doesn't have an 80-person scene where you guys are all just meeting up and playing Destiny? It's like, well, not everyone's going to show up just for the beer, right? And
I would even say that, and this has been a change for me over the last couple weeks, I have had way more fun drinking beer and playing Destiny in the last couple weeks. We have a couple of community members who are I consider very close friends of mine. Like I like them. Like I would come move a couch for them kind of friends, right? And they got very turned off by the hyper competitive, like we were grinding for regionals, right? Forever. It was gone. It went too long. And they encouraged me. Well, they didn't encourage me. They were like, we're not playing that anymore. And because I wanted to play with them and I wanted to engage with them, like it made me go, okay, well, let's just go play at the bar and I'll bring something, like we'll just play. And I think I honest to God think that is more, maybe not more important than the competitive scene, because I think you need a competitive scene. Like most games have proven that.
And I think that's what I'm saying is without the competitive scene, you don't have the draw.
Right.
But that's not what's necessarily the
best part of it. I think you have to, like you mentioned before, like you brought up the term, you have to turn that, you have to go to competitive. Hey, thanks for coming to our competitive, and I really like talking to you, so why don't you come over to my house this weekend and play Destiny over a beer?
Which is exactly how our play group started.
Yeah.
Right? There was a Magic pre-release, and the store was not holding a Destiny weekend, and I got your text, and I got several other people's texts, and I said, let's come play at this table right here.
Right.
And we drank beer.
And we had fun.
Yeah.
We had an absolute blast, and I from that day, I'm friends with everybody that was there. It's just... It is super important. I can't stress enough those personal connections like that. It has to be. If you are not, I don't. This is probably wrong to say, but I think if you're not interested in the personal connections part, you're probably not a community leader and organizer.
Well, not a leader for sure.
Right. You can come play and not be interested in that. Mm-hmm. Like that's fine, but. Like if that's not important to you and you think you're in a leadership role, you're probably playing the wrong game.
I see.
Or trying to assume the wrong role.
Well, so what you're trying to say is there's more to putting on an event than just putting up a flyer and having a judge.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and I would agree with that. Right.
And I think we're completely blessed in this area, and I don't mean Portland. I mean the Pacific Northwest. Like to have some of the most friendly people like that drive from miles for hours to get here and to go to Washington and go to Idaho, and they're just the most nice. You play them, you talk to them, and you see them like 4 months later, and they're like, we played at the GQ, and I remember you blew my face off, and they're just like, that was awesome. Like it's incredible. I don't get it. I don't understand why our community is that way, but it is, and I love it.
I mean, no complaints. Right? So then, let's flip that around.
Okay.
Right? Let's say you've got people. I mean, so again, one of the arguments on why Destiny is so great, and this isn't just us. This is if you go look on any of the boards, right? Everyone will always tout how great the Destiny community is, and I agree. But here's the catch. As the community continues to grow, we're going to naturally start pulling in the chaff. Right. As Destiny gets bigger, especially as we start moving towards the cash games that everyone's been asking for, we're going to start pulling in the cheaters. We're going to start pulling in the chaff. So how do you, because the reality is humans, focus on negative way more than they focus on positive. And you can go to a tournament and have 3 good games and have 1 negative experience with someone and walk out of that tournament thinking it was a negative experience.
Right.
So how do you, as a community leader, correct the turd in the punch bowl? Right?
That's a really hard one. For me, my background is such that I am I was a church youth group leader, like in my younger days. So I was kind of trained to deal with turds and punch bowls. Like that was kind of like what I did is I would take a difficult teen, usually like irrational teen, and I would connect with him. And I don't think you can change that person. You cannot. I mean, you can't actively change them. You can passively change them. But those people that maybe are negative, or they're over emotional, or they're not good, they're sore losers, or whatever it is. Those people deserve the same human connection.
Sure.
That the people that are easy to get along with do. So the way I have handled it in the past is I become the turd's friend. I try to do my best to understand them and talk to them, and you'd be surprised what you find out about people. Someone was terrible on a Monday night one time, and I found out that they had an awful week, and then Monday was like they were looking forward to all weekend, and they barely made it, and they had a terrible day at work, and they just came in and they were frazzled. Right, to the person they were playing against, all it seemed like is the person was being irrational and mean. But they were having other problems. So for me, it's about, I try to reach those people, and you can't change someone without a relationship. So you have to form the relationship first. Yeah, and then once that relationship is made, then you can kind of level with people.
But that may improve it for you, or that may improve the interaction for you. Is that going to help make them become a part of the community?
It can, because you're not going to take advice from me if we're not friends.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure.
Right? But we are friends. If I came to you and told you, like, Andrew, this is a part of your personality that needs some work, I think our relationship is such that you would at least hear me. You may not agree with me, but you would at least hear me, and if I was speaking the truth, it would change you, probably. So that person passively who you get to know, I think that person can change, and we're getting really philosophical here, but that person can become a positive member. I don't necessarily think you have to call them. Like, I think eventually that could happen. You could have to call them, like, from the
just say, hey, thanks but no thanks. Yeah. I that's where I was ultimately going. Right. Do we ever hit that line?
And you play at a place, you play at a store on Saturday, right? That store is there to ultimately build community and make money, right? If someone is being disruptive enough to where they're not making money, that becomes a much harder, and that decision to remove that person might have to be sped up. Whereas if you just have a group of friends or acquaintances that get together, you can take more time with that. And I'm actually struggling with that myself. Like I came from being just a community member and a player and a friend who is now a merchant, right? But everyone's used to me being player friend Mike, and now I'm also merchant Mike. And sometimes I have to remember, ultimately I want to sell product and make money. Like that's what I want to do.
Well, I mean, you're not going to sell it unless people are coming there, right? Because, I mean, not to get too into the brick and mortar versus Amazon type deal, but you can't compete with the prices of someone online, right? So you have to offer a different type of product that they are willing to pay you an extra sum for, right? They're like, I mean, that's the whole, support your LGS argument is I'm willing to pay more than I could get it elsewhere because I get this in exchange, which is the community, the place to play, right? So yeah, I see that's very difficult because then you as a store also, like, let's say the turd in the punch bowl is your best spender. Yeah. Then what do you do, right?
That, yes. And we've actually seen that before.
That's actually why we don't play at that place that we used to play at.
Right.
Is the turd in the punch bowl.
Well, was the
toxic turd in the punch bowl was the big spender. And
toxic turd. We had a jersey or something.
It's like radioactive.
Right.
But seriously, right? So one person who was the large spender at the store was able to influence the way that the store approached the game, and thus because the store was then no longer offering a product that people wanted, they stopped purchasing their product there.
Right.
And then the store was like, well, we don't like this. We're not going to support this community anymore because we're not getting a return from it.
Yeah.
So it's like this.
That circled the drain very quickly.
Right. Right. But that's a risk I think that every place has. So well, I mean, you have the fortune of having seen it now, so you can hopefully not blunder into the same thing as a retailer yourself, right? Or as a product supplier yourself. But what do you do to prevent that from even becoming an issue in the first place? Because that's really what needed to be done.
You have to be willing to. I think you have to be willing to slow down. I'm talking from a retailer standpoint. You have to be willing to slow down, listen to multiple people in the community, and try to figure out whether it's one person who's being super loud, right, or if it is truly what the community feels. What happened in that particular scenario is we had a very loud person, right, who the store, I think, was trying to do the right thing that they thought.
I completely 100% agree. They were trying to listen to the community, and they had 10 shouts, and 10 of those were coming from one person that did not represent the community.
Correct. Yeah. So I think it's important to slow down and listen. Also, make sure that the person who is being loud feels listened to, and feels like there's a connection still. Like, you don't want to make them feel stupid because they had a legitimate, they felt they had a legitimate beef.
Sure.
So you have to listen to that, listen to everybody, and then honestly listen to people, though, because I think one of the things that can happen is a person can say, tell me what you think, and then you tell them and they're like, that's not true. Like, instantly, like, shut you off, and that really can damage a relationship beyond repair.
Sure.
Which is kind of, I've seen it.
Yeah. Okay. So I mean, no. So that's fair, and I mean, we diverged a little bit. So sorry, but value added conversation, right?
Well, the community should revolve around the local game store.
It should. Well, I mean, unless you. I mean, we play at bars and stuff, but the only reason we started playing at the tap house was because we used to play a 3-round tournament and be like, I want to roll some more dice. Right. Let's go grab a beer. Right. So I agree. Without the LGS, the community never would have started.
Right. And player groups will find they will, if you're blessed with an area that has multiple spots to play. Like, all that happened to our group is we found a place that was super willing to house us. Like, come sit at our super comfy chairs and our skylight, and we're here anyway sorting cards. Come play at our place, right? And
that is literally what happened to Gangai.
Right, right. We felt welcomed. Like, it was like, oh, you guys are cool. Come play. Yeah. And it has since turned into a place that has a store championship. Now and is super welcoming, and I mean that's just one of the things like and we could do a whole store episode, but I mean I think as a store you have to be willing to. You're not just selling product. You've got to be willing to build the community.
So I'm actually going to flip it the other way.
Okay.
Right, the community actually helped build that store's program as well.
Yeah.
So it's like a symbiotic relationship, right? We needed a place. They were like, well, we have a place and we like to sell product.
Right.
Why don't you come here? And we're like, all right, let's start running tournaments. Right. And then, like, there's even been days where they've just been like, oh, there's not enough people. You guys just play for free. Don't worry about it. Right? I mean,
and I would say not only can that one community move in and kind of find a home, but that community could spawn other communities like for instance, at Gongai on Saturdays, like we play Destiny, and then it rolls right into Keyforge. And there's people that do both games that just stay. Like,
and when people come in and they like, if someone comes in and there's a room full of empty chairs, you're gonna be like, okay. But if you come in and the place is full, regardless of whether they're playing Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or whatever, right? Like it does feel, although maybe not Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, that's different type of community, but. You know, if there's people there, if there's people there playing Destiny, then yes, it supports the Keyforge environment.
And to circle back around to your original question, which is if we get people from other games who are tired of the scene and they come in, they're naturally going to change the solution that we've created, right? They're going to add a new personality into the solution. It is going to alter that solution. That's not always a bad thing. And if the person comes in and they're maybe more competitive than we want them to be, I think the relationship can help fix that. And if it doesn't, that person's probably going to leave anyway.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I don't know that I want to go back to the competitive statement, right? Like I don't think there's anything wrong with having someone who's competitive. I think the challenge in building the community is getting that person to understand when it's time to pump the brakes. Or maybe that you don't have to have gas on all the time. Right? Like it's I don't know. So let's go into that then in our last topic, and then we'll get out of here, right? Setting expectations. So if you go to a regional and you expect to win, you are highly likely to leave that disappointed.
Right. 69 people would have been disappointed. Right? Yeah.
So how do you temper, maybe temper is the better, how do you temper your expectations in Destiny? Because you know what? You're going to have the game where you just roll shields. Like, it's going to happen. Yeah. Right? Or just roll disrupt or whatever. Right? So how do you personally manage your expectations of a game of Destiny? And in this, I am going on the competitive side. Like if you're at a tournament, right? Like that's more what I mean. And I don't necessarily mean a regional, just any tournament.
Right. So competitively, the way I deal with that is I focus on the things that I can control, which is clean play, and being nice. You know, like I think that's important too for me personally. But I control. Like I feel like if I play clean for 6 rounds, my ability is going to make me win more than lose, even with poor rolling. And if I play clean for 6 rounds and my luck is on, I could 6-0. Right? So I just focus on the thing I can control, because if you focus on those dice, it will drive you insane.
Yes.
Like, you will go freaking insane. Like, Alex played Boba 7th for an eternity.
It felt like, actually wasn't that long, but it felt like forever.
And all he did was roll sticks the entire time and kill me. Right? Before he then even CQA and then kill me, right? Like that was like he was winning CQA, kill me. I tried to play that deck, right? Thinking I'm going to go to what I think we went to a Galactic Qualifier up at Emerald City, and I took that deck, and I expected it to roll a +3 on the Ancient Lightsaber and then 2/2 special. Like that's all I expected, right? Like that's all I wanted. And just like Alex
just wanted max damage.
Right. All I want is max damage every time. And I came out of that tournament insane. Like, I was like, what is wrong with this deck? The answer is there's nothing wrong with the deck. My expectation of the deck was improper. So
that's a perfect example of what I'm driving for.
Yeah. So I was not concentrating on what I could control, which is, you know what, if Seven Sister rolls a 1 damage,
that's good.
It. Right. You take it. You can control that. You roll it out. You know, you roll it out. The disrupt on Seven Sister is, I know it feels really bad, but it can be pretty impactful, you know, throughout the game.
And it doesn't mean you still can't reroll, right? But, you know, I guess that's where I'm going, is we still see a lot of people who, when they come, they roll in and they don't roll max damage. Right. Like, let's take Seven Sisters a great example, right? So she has a melee, a 2 melee,
right? A disrupt,
a shield, and a money, and a blank.
Right.
So, quick math. How often is she rolling damage?
Not very often.
33% of the time.
16% to hit that too, right?
Right. So, well, again, that's if you're completely unreasonable to expect max damage, right? But
that's all I was asking.
So let's think about that, right? If we have, let's say, Seventh Sister and Boba. Okay, so Boba has 50% sides that you want. Maybe. You just get your special is not always useful, right? But 50%, 33%, 33%, right? if you roll the 4 dice out, actually, let's do it the other way.
Okay.
What are you have 4 dice with a blank on them.
Okay.
Right? It's 1 out of 6. So you have a 1 out of 6 chance 4 times.
Sure.
You are highly likely to roll a blank when you roll 4.
If I remember right, I think it's like 47% chance or 50% chance you're going to roll 1 blank on 4 die. If you roll all 4 die and they each have 1 blank. Like, your chance of getting one is pretty high.
For the math guys, the actual way to calculate that is 1 minus 5 times 6 times 5 times 6 times 5 times 6 times 5 times 6. Right. So I don't know what that is off my head. But yes, you have a very good chance of rolling a blank on 4 dice.
Sure. As good a chance as you do of hitting the 2, right, on just a 1 die. Like hitting the 2 melee on
and again, I guess that goes back to what is your success criteria, right? If your success criteria is I want damage on Boba, you have a 50% chance. So if you roll 2 dice, you have just as much chance of not rolling damage as you do of rolling damage on both dice.
Sure.
Right? So, I don't know. I guess setting your expectations is going to change how your deck goes.
That deck taught me such an important lesson in this game. Like, I think everyone should have to play that deck for a weekend and feel the ecstasy and the agony. Like, it is the most maddening experience. Like, you have to be willing to, like, suck.
That's all right. It's rotating out. We can figure it out.
Right.
So, okay. So, fair enough. So, because I think that's obviously the end goal, just tying everything back together, is you guys have done a fantastic job of getting new people in. I think a lot of people in the community can take that BKM, best known method, and apply it. Like, it's not that hard to do. Like, we all have extra cards. We can all pool our community resources. I think the community did a great job. Many people who we didn't even necessarily expect in the community stepped up and gave cards. Like, so props there. And I think every community can do that. The challenge, I think, in front of these communities is turning that corner.
Sure.
And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. So,
and
Mike's recommendation, be nice.
Yeah, be nice. Get to know people.
people.
Yeah. And set the expectation. Like, a new
exactly.
person, if you sit down with someone who's playing the game for the first and second time, and you're talking and engaging with them, first off, don't get mad when you roll bad, because all you're going to do is teach them that that's the appropriate behavior, which it is not. Like, it's a freaking dice game.
Right.
If you want to roll damage, play Vader. Like, I mean, otherwise,
Please don't play Vader.
Yeah, please don't play Vader. But I think that is a super important point with taking a new person and turning that corner. Is like, thanks for coming. Here's something you can play with. Let's learn how to play, and also let's teach you how. Let's kind of close the gap between having to be frustrated with your rolls. Mm-hmm. Let's help you get to that point faster where you can go, you know what, it's a dice game and I'm having fun.
You would hope on teaching night that the person who showed up isn't getting frustrated that they're not rolling well, because they shouldn't have any expectations of rolling well.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, they're just kind of excited about all the different dice sides.
That's what I would be thinking. And you can go out of your way. I mean, when I used to write the teaching articles back for Mike's old site, I made a point of, like, if they roll well, I'd be like,
right, yeah, right? Absolutely.
And doing that in of itself makes it a unique event that they rolled well, right? Sure. Not that, hey, that's the baseline. Right. So yeah, I don't know. I think we tied in some good things.
Yeah, no. Thanks for bringing it up. It's been a super fun experience to really shift focus between just trying to win games of Destiny, which I feel like I've been in this rut for months, man. It's been awful. And to just remembering what makes the game great and why I like hanging out with you guys.
Which is the people. Because, TTS is a thing, but it's a lot better to go to a bar and roll dice.
Absolutely. The beer is way better than it is in TTS.
Yeah. But I'm pretty sure there's a Jacquemin proxy for that. Anyway, all right. So let us, build on it. Let us know what your guys' BKMs, best known methods for your own area are, so we can hopefully apply them. Sure. Not just towards getting people, right? Let's not focus as much on just getting people for this conversation as much as turning them into community members, because that's what's going to make people stay. That's what's going to make other people start running events. And again, if there are events out there that you want to see run, there's no rule that you can't just do it.
Yeah, if you want to like a tournament that's just only non-unique characters,
it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, just throw it and go to a bar and have a tournament and have some playmats printed that cost like $20. Yeah, so
29 something with shipping. Maybe just throwing out there.
Yeah.
So Anyway, all right. So yeah, we would love to hear what you have to say. Mike, do you have anything to hit before we
just
get out of here?
please, if you like what we're talking about, please like and subscribe. Share the video. I mean, with your other community members, if you like. We are super invested in making this game great. We're not dumb. We know this game isn't going to be here forever, but we want to be here and help and healthy as long as possible. And then also, we want the next game we play to be as equally great and as welcoming.
And that's even, I mean, part of the community is if they do cancel the game tomorrow, maybe our community moves on together, right? And then you still have a gaming community.
Sure,
so
absolutely. Pokemon could happen.
Yeah. Fair enough. So, all right. I think that's all we've got. Any other thing to plug?
Go Commando.
Go Commando.